Moving on to red uncommons, rares, and mythics. First off, we got Basalt Ravager, 4 mana 4/2. When it enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to any target. Any target? It can go upstairs? Where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that share a creature type in common. So this reminds me of, there was a 4 mana 2/2 party creature, right? And there was a 4 mana 2/2, it dealt like 1 damage for each party. And this is a 4 mana 4/2. This is like an 8 or a 9, right? This is not just Skeleton Archer upside. Like the difference between 1 and potentially 2 to 3 and is enormous. And itself has 2 creature types, so it feeds itself pretty easily. This is a pretty solid 8. The fact that this can go upstairs is like pretty bonkers. This might be a 9, but I guess we can maybe make this. Maybe we can make the Craven Hulk a 7 and make this an 8. I'm willing to do that. Yeah, this card's really good. I would expect this to deal at least 2 damage, if not 3 or 4. Yeah, going upstairs is silly. Like Fanatic Emogies. You remember Fanatic Emogies, which was 3 in a red, 4/2, ETB, deal 1 damage for every red pip you had, right? And that went to but that only went to face. Like how you played that at limited, right? And it did like 3 or 4 damage, and that was just a face. Like, I feel like Turret Ogre. Well, this is way back. This is a different card than Turret Ogre. Turret Ogre was a 4/3 reach, right? That dealt 2 damage to a player if you had another 4 power creature. Yeah. This might be an 8.5. But it's at least an 8, so. Crush the Weak. Deals 2 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. I generally do not main deck Pyroclasms. The problem I have with red Pyroclasms is that your creatures all die to it. So it's hard for this to be. If you're imagining your opponent plays like a 2/2 into a 3/2 and you play this, like that's the best case scenario. I think that a lot of the time that's just not going to happen. Yeah. Yeah, the giant, I mean, your best Assault Ravager's a 4/2. That's one example. So, I mean, the Foretell certainly helps on this, but it's worse than Demonic Bolt. It's worse than Shock, I think. Being worse than Shock is, I mean, this is at least a 5, just on power level. But it's a great sideboard card. So, I think, yeah, if this was an instant, it would probably be a 6. Because Volcanic Fallout was really good, and that was 1 red, deal 2 damage to everything. Right? And that card was really good. You main deck that one. But that was an instant. This is not an instant. So, Foretell does make up for the fact that it's not an instant. Doomscar Titan. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/0 and hit. Oh, so it's a 6 mana 5/4 haste. Okay. Foretell 5. So there were 4 or 6. There was a card like this. No. I'm thinking of the one that made a Satyr token. It was like a 5 mana 4/4, made a 1/1 that can't block, and whenever you like targeted it, +1/0 to all your creatures, right? That card was good. This is not. I don't see myself main decking this. This is pretty bad. This is worse than all the red commons, right? This is worse than a 7 mana 7/6 trample. This is worse than the 4 mana 4/4 that can't block. No, I don't really think I want anything to do with this. I don't want anything to do with this. Charging Monstrosaur? This is not Charging Monstrosaur. The Charging Monstrosaur was like a 10 out of 10. Charging Monstrosaur was a 10 out of 10 in Ixalan. This is not Charging Monstrosaur. Charging Monstrosaur is a 5-cost 5/5 trample haste. You actually just splash for it. Like that, yeah, that was a banger. This is not a banger. Not even close. Dual Strike. Whenever you cast your next instant or sorcery spell with converted mana cost 4 or less, copy that spell. What are we doing with this? Typically, these effects are not playable. I'm just going to put it as a... I'm going to put this as not playable. I'm going to assume that we're just not going to do anything. Yeah, this seems like a 2. Double Demon Bolt. I think you'd rather just have a creature. So, like, I'd rather have like a 5 mana 5/4 and a Demon Bolt than this and a Demon Bolt. So I think what we're doing with this is we're copying divinations from blue, right? Yeah, you can't copy squash, which is a pretty big downside. You can't copy lava axe, which is what, oh my goodness, you're right. You can't even copy lava axe, which is what the artwork is. Copying the red rummage? Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, wait. You said copy the red rummage. Now you're speaking my language. It is really good with the red rummage. It's even free. It's a free divination. 0 cost draw 2. It's better than a 0 cost draw 2 with the divination. Because you get a treasure out of it. Okay. There may be something here. There's a 4-mana scry 2 draw 2 in blue. You can copy that. You can copy Demon Bolt. You can copy the Shock. Alright, I'm gonna move this back up. I'm gonna move this up to a 5. Not in the sense that you would sideboard it, but I think it's like, if Dual Strike is good in your deck, it is really good, right? I guess it's not really good. It's like playable. Let's make it a 4. Make it a 4. You would need at least 5 good spells, if not 6, and you want at least like 7 targets for this. So let's make it a 4. I think if you sideboard this, you're not going to be like, if you miss on this, if you don't play this when it would be a playable card in your deck, it's fine, right? This deck gets better the better your deck is, which is, I mean, yeah. All right, moving on. Here's a battlefield. Pay 2. If you do 5 cost, 5/1 trample. Doesn't have haste? I thought it was a 5 cost, 5/1 trample haste. Not even. What? I think this is a no, right? +3 on trample is nice. I mean, Manriki, it wasn't Manriki, it was O Naginata, right? That card was pretty bad. You talk about Loxodon Warhammer? You think this is Loxodon Warhammer? I don't know. Lifelink is a big part of Loxodon Warhammer. No, it's not a 5/2, it's a 5/1. This is a card that I'm gonna lose to and like, this is a card I'm gonna lose to and just not play and just be like, okay, whatever. If I don't play this card, I don't think I'm gonna be unhappy that I didn't play it. Like, I'd rather have a 5-mana 5/4 than this. The Bowspinger, right? Like, and I think if you're like worse than a 5 cost 5/4, like generic, put the Black Rune on it. I'll put it as a 6 begrudgingly, just because I'm just gonna lose to it. I don't respect it. I don't respect cards like this, but it does give you inevitability in red. So I probably underestimate that because I never worry about it. Fearless Liberator. Boast. Create a 2/1 red dwarf berserker creature. 6. I don't like it, but it's fine. You'll play it. I think you'll play it. Yeah. I think it's better. I don't know if it's better than Excal Cavalry, though, is the problem. Which is the 2/2 tap to give a creature haste. I would not main deck that's in Sealed. No. I don't like this card. This is the type of card that I don't like. It's way too expensive for what it does, and the stats are so bad. In what universe do I play this in my Sealed deck? If I'm playing red-black or red-green, you just need 2 drops, right? It's not wildly unplayable. Okay? Like, I think Fearless Liberator is better than Doomscar Titan. I'll make it a 5.5. You're not going to play it a lot of the time, but... Is this even an ability? You might be right. Why is Fearless Liberator better than 3 in a row make 2 1s? I mean, 2/1 up front is a lot better than foretelling, right? Alright, fine. It's a 4. Get me out. Frenzied Raider. Whenever you activate a boast ability, put a counter... What? Isn't this good? This is at least a 3/3 for 2, right? This is at least a 3/3 for 2. It could be better. Now, yeah, this is way better than Fearless Liberator. I would play, if I opened 3 of these, I would play all 3. So, and I'd be happy about it. And if I had 3 of these, I would play Fearless Liberator. Provoke the trolls. Deals 3 damage to any target. If a creature is dealt damage this way, it gets plus 5/0. What? Okay, this first of all, this is any target. It can go upstairs. It could be a lava axe if you're gonna kill them. Plus 5, minus 3, yeah. There's a lot of 4 mana 3/3s in this set. Is this better than the shock? No. This is worse than the shock. Do it to the Warhammer. Well, the Warhammer creature is a 1 toughness creature, so that's not gonna work out. This is worse than the shock. 4 mana deal 3. I don't know if I want to play a 4 mana deal 3. This, yeah, there was a 1 black red target creature gets plus 4, minus 4. Augur Spree, I think is what it was called. Reminds me of that. Now, Augur Spree was like a tier 1 common, but this is not. This is not. At 3 mana, yeah. 4 mana, I'm not so much about this. When was the last time when was the last time anyone played 4 mana deal 3s? Was there one with Rebound? No, that was Stagger Shock was a 3 mana deal 2. Was there a sorcery 4 mana deal 3 one? Probably not. I don't think anybody's ever played a, yeah, this is not main deckable. There was, oh yeah, there's one that had flashback. Well, that's way better, obviously. Agonizing Siphon, but that gained 3 life. It was deal 3, gain 3, right? That's way better than this. Oh, Burn Trail had Conspire. That's way better than this. Yeah, but you're right. Burn Trail is like, you're right about Burn Trail. Or Cackling Flames. There you go. Cackling Flames. But the thing is, you actually played Cackling Flames. Because it almost always was a lava axe. But cards have cards have been so much better since Cackling Flames was printed. Magma Burst was like a 9 out of 10. Well, that was also Sack 2 Mountains to copy it, right? So, I think we could do so much better than this. I don't think I want anything to do with it. Rune of Speed. Plus 1/0 and haste. It's a 5, Cyber versus Flyers. Yeah, I mean, if you're against the blue deck that has the crows, the phantom monsters, I can see that. Rune of Speed, though. Sure. I think this is the worst rune. It's no red cartouche, I'll tell you that. I think it's a 6. If you open 3, you won't play all 3. If you open 1, you can play 1, it's not embarrassing. Yeah, this is the one you want to put on equipment for sure. Yeah. I don't think anybody's really debating whether this is better than a 6. It's not, so. It is really good with the common red equipment. The +1/+1 equipment that cost 1. Like, you turn it into a 2/1 haste. +1/+1. Maybe. Alright, we're into rares now. Haste. Uh-oh. 3 cost, 3/3 haste. Okay. You may change Arnie Broken Bow's base power to 1+, the greatest power among other creatures you control. Okay, so... yeah, sir, are you aware of the fact that there is a giant tusk or tooth in your head? Kind of just sticking out there? Are you aware of that? It's a flesh wound. I think that's brain damage, buddy, but I don't know if you really won. Like, the troll is gonna be fine. It's gonna like regen its tusk, and you have like permanent brain damage. I feel like pretty sure you did not win. But okay, so imagine you have this in a 4/4. Then this is a 5/3, right? 5/3 haste. I mean, this is like a pretty clear 8, right? So always play it. Really not much to it. I like that it's a May ability. So if they kill your creature, that it doesn't become like a smaller creature or something. Like if you have like a 1/3 and a 4/3 and you activate this ability and they kill your 4 power creature, all you have is a 1 power creature. Like you can just choose not to do it when it resolves. So seems Knight with combat tricks. Yeah, I mean it copies Giant Growths. I mean, copying Giant Growths is an ability that creatures have had in the past and it's never been good, so. You cast Egon, the next turn you can cast Arnie and Boast and attack for 13. Yeah, Egon is pretty bad though. Why didn't Egon die in your upkeep? It's at least a 4/3? No, it's others. If you have another 3/3, it is a 4/3 though. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much, it's not very interesting. There's not much going on with this card, so. It's like, it's just, even if it was just a 3-cost 3/3 haste, no text, you would still play it. And it'd be great. So. This is like a 6? Nah, dude. 3/3 haste plus is quite good for 3. Burji, God of Storytelling. Whenever you cast a spell, add red. Okay, first of all, it's a 3-cost 3/3. Whenever you cast a spell, add red. Okay. Whatever. Creatures you control can boast twice during each of your turns rather than once. Okay, so this is just a 9. It's at least a 9. Oh, it has a backside. Discard a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. Sure. Sure. This is not a 10. This is a solid 9. Do I need to go back and show you what 10s are? 10 is that 4 mana artifact that makes them lose 3 unless they discard a card, right? That's a 10. Or the angel card that foretells, that's a 10. This is not a 10. Yeah. But it's a solid 9. Solid 9. Yeah, foretell the angels, that's a 10. This is not a 10. I know I know you can say a lot of stuff for constructed, but for limited, I mean, the front side is great, the back side is great. There's really not much to say about it. You're always going to play it if you have it. Do you splash for it? That's a good question. You probably could splash for this just for the backside, because this is pretty good on turn 6, right? Yeah. So I think this is a splash-worthy card. The front side isn't a splash-worthy, but the back card is. Yeah. I mean, you played Experimental Frenzy in Sealed. This is like an Experimental Frenzy type card, so seems fine. If a giant source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. So 4 mana 6/4 baseline. Your instants are not tribal instants, right? So it doesn't help those. Like your squash card is not a tribal giant card. But yeah, it's like a giant lord. It's an 8. It could be a 9. It's like a 9 in the right deck, right? It's like an 8.5, right? It's a 9 in the right deck. Combos with the equipment. It makes a dwarf, right? No, it doesn't make a giant, it makes a dwarf. Yeah, something to keep in mind is this isn't actually double damage. Unfortunately, the way that the rules of Magic work, this is not actually double damage. So, oh, the common equipment. So let me give you an example. Imagine you have that 7/6 trample common giant, and your opponent blocks with a 7/7, and you have Calamity Bearer in play. Your intuition would make you believe that your opponent takes 7 and their creature takes 7, right? But that is unfortunately not the way the rules of Magic work. What ends up happening is your opponent 7/7 takes 14. Despite your creature having trample, they just take 14. And then whatever. Then they don't take any. So, and it doesn't work against double damage either. Let me give you an example. One of the reasons why Calamity Bearer is not actually that good is if you attack with Calamity Bearer and your opponent has a pair of 3/3s and double blocks it, you do not kill both. You only kill one of them. And that is something that is a huge downside that everybody's going to get gotten. Because they think, oh, Calamity Bearer is a 6/4 for 4. Well, not really. If your opponent double blocks, it is not a 6/4. So, this has downsides. It is not nearly as good as it looks. And knowing that, I'll mark it as an 8. Just because you're gonna self-sabotage with this card more than once. It does not work with trample. It does not work well against double blocking. He has balls for hands. No, I think he's just like he's holding on to like a ball of like magma or something. I don't know. He's holding the balls. Dragonkin Berserker. 2 mana 2/2 for a strike. Both abilities you activate cost I don't know. I don't know how it works with Infect. I don't think it's going to come up. I don't think many Euro Giants are going to have Infect. Bush abilities you control a costable less to activate for each dragon you control. Whatever. Boost. 5 mana, make a 4/4 red dragon. Okay, sure. That was good. It's really good. Yeah, it's 5 mana. Oh, it's 5 mana, make a 5/5 red. Sorry. Yeah, 5 mana, make a 5/5 red creature. Sure. I mean, worst case scenario, you can like sacrifice it to make a 5/5, right? It's a 2/2 first strike, which is already above rate. It has trinket text. Unless you have a changeling, right? I mean, I don't know. Changelings don't have outcast abilities, right? Or boast abilities, rather. This could be a 7-drop? Not really, right? If it survives, the next boast is cheaper. Yeah, this is like a 2/2 first strike that if it gets a clean attack, you win the game, right? I think that's worthy. I mean, it's better. This is better than Calamity Bearer. I think. Which makes me think that Calamity Bearer might just be a 7 and this is an 8. Isn't this a 10? I don't think so. Maybe it's a 9. I mean, it's on the same level as the 3 mana 3/2 that whenever it attacks, you can boast 1 to make to draw the top card of your, or like exile the top card of your deck. You can play until end of turn. It's on that level. The fact that that's a 2/2 first strike, like the fact that a front side is like not embarrassing too. Yeah, like the 2/2 first strike is a pretty high floor. The other one boasts for free. Well, you're gonna be tapped out, right? So it's gonna be hard to utilize the top card of your deck. But well, you probably had to play your land to attack to get your 5th mana, right? Yeah, this is on the level of like the 4 mana 4/3 Flying Angel in black. I'll call it a 9. Magda, Brazen Outlaw. Other dwarves you control get +1/0. Whenever a dwarf you control becomes tapped, create a treasure. Sack 5 treasures. Search your library for an artifact or dragon card. Put that card into your onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. It's good. I like that it hits like it's a goblin piker, first of all. That when it becomes tapped, it makes a treasure, right? I don't know how many dwarves are going to be in the set. It's a mana fixer. The floor on this is much lower than the floor on this, I think. So, dude, stop bringing up changelings. No one cares about changelings. No one cares about it. I get that you can have a changeling in your deck to get with the dragon card. I get that. This is probably yeah, I get it. It doesn't change, like, whether there is, like, 1 or 5 changeling in the set does not change the power level of this card. It's like, there's no reason to talk about it. There would have to be 20 changeling in this set for this ability to matter. There aren't 20 changelings in the set. This is at least an 8. So, 5 treasures is a lot. Well, I mean, it's kind of 4 treasures, right? Because you can, like, attack with this, and then, like, before it dies in combat, you can go sack it. But it doesn't say use this ability as a sorcery. So, it's also a lord. Yeah, it can't find the back half of this. That's a good point. You can't find Harnell Horna Bounty with this. That's a good point. It works with this. It makes Fearless Liberator less embarrassing. It even even gives you treasure to activate it. This is a dwarf, I guess. The reason why I like it as an 8 is that I like cards that pay you when they stick around. And this has an effect of like almost like that's a lot of treasures, right? And it's also like it also mana fixes and it has the potential of just winning the game. Right? I mean, it has that potential. I don't see any dragons. I mean, I guess they had to be changelings. I don't see any dragons in red. So it has to go find a changeling, which is fine. But I think the mana fixing is pretty good. Yeah, and treasure is a really powerful effect. So, Reckless Crew. Create X2/1 red dwarf berserker creature tokens, where X is the number of vehicles you control, plus the number of equipment you control. For each of those tokens, you may attach an equipment you control to it. But they don't have haste. No. If these things had haste, you would play it. If the tokens had haste, you would just play it. Like, I already don't... There's a 4 mana make 2/2 ones that has Foretell. That I think is better than this. So, or this was an instant. Yeah, or if they had haste, or they had trample, or if they just had something. T-Bolt's Trickery. Counter... No. No. Constructed combo card. Not interesting for sealed. So, whatever. Tundra Fumarole. Snow Sorcery. Deal 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Add a colorless for each snow spent to cast this spell. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as phases and steps ends. So it's costs 1 red, and you get 1 colorless afterwards. Okay. That you can use to boast your 3/2 to get a land and play it. Or you can use the Foretell card. Oh yeah, and the colorless you get are snow mana. That's interesting. That's not intuitive. But because this is a snow sorcery, the new mana is also snow. Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's just like a solid... This is a solid 8, right? So... 1 out of 3 times you cast this and get 3 mana? No, it's probably more often than that. This is good. You're always going to play it, so there's really not much to say. 5 mana, 4/4 flying haste. Whenever this attacks or becomes the target of a spell, create a treasure token. Treasures you control have sack this artifact at 2 mana. This card is really good. I have a problem with calling this a 10 out of 10 because in my mind, 10 out of 10s don't die to terminates. This can just die to a terminate, right? At the end of the day, your opponent could have the demon bolt and just kill it. Yeah, this is a 9. You don't splash for this, and it does just die to Doomblade. But you can attack immediately and run amok itself. I mean, sure. You can attack immediately and run amok it 4 times, right? So, I don't know what that means. Provides mana to respond to stuff? Yeah. Haste changes the dies of Doomblade question a lot? No, I don't think it does. Because your opponent's gonna have a foretell Demon Bolt up. And they're gonna have one red mana open, and you're gonna play this thinking you're gonna win the game, and your opponent's gonna pay 1 red and kill it. And you're gonna pick it up and put it in your graveyard. It's good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. It's obviously quite good. But the thing is, like, I actually think I think this is better. Because this actually just wins you the game. And your opponent is unlikely to be able to remove this. And like, this will just win you the game. So, this isn't Glorybringer, but your Glorybringer is a 10? No, I don't agree Glorybringer is a 10. I thought Glorybringer was also a 9. I played that was the format I played the most of, and I thought Glorybringer was okay. But it's not even close to be a Glorybringer. So, I mean, maybe Glorybringer is a 10. But if Glorybringer was a 10, this is not a 10. Anyways. Quakebringer. Your opponent's connecting life. At the beginning of your upkeep, deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability triggers only if Quakebringer is on the battlefield, or if Quakebringer is in your graveyard. And you control a giant. Well, this is way better than Calamity Bearer. It's so weird to see Foretell without the reminder text. Because, like, I feel like this card isn't, like, fundamentally different if it didn't have Foretell, but it works for Calamity Bearer. I mean, this is a mythic and that's a rare, right? Who cares that they work together? We're talking about sealed here. Wait, it doesn't work with Calamity Bearer, right? If it's in the graveyard, I don't think it works with this. I could be wrong. Oh, it's because it's a giant source and not a giant permanent source. So if it said giant permanent source, it wouldn't work. Okay, so if it said permanent, it would not work. But because it says giant source, it does work. Okay, not that it matters. But, yeah, I mean, this is a card you're always going to play it. So, I'm more impressed by this card than Goldspan Dragon. Because this, I mean, this doesn't die to terminate. They still get hit over and over, right? So, The land still burns, yeah. Trample. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage. What is that? Come on. Whenever it's dealt excess non-combat damage, Torolf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent. Alright. So, your opponent has a 3/3, a 2/2, and a 1/1, and you deal 6 damage to the 3/3. You can kill the 2/2 and the 1/1. So it turns like your big damage spells. It's non-combat damage, right? Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage. The ability is non-combat damage. It does not work with Soulscar Mage. Yeah, it does trigger off itself. But, yeah, it turns your, like, burn spells into Cone of Flames, right? If they overwhelm it. And there is a common deal 6. I also like that it can turn your Squash into a Searing Blaze, right? Because it says, deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than the permanent. So it can go to the face. So you can turn your burn spells into Searing Blazes, too. This is obviously quite good. So, this plus Blasphemous Act. There you go. Take 50, 55, or whatever it is. Oh, it's only creature and opponent controls. So, Blasphemous Act wouldn't really work. Unless your opponent had a bunch of creatures. At least 2. You gotta have Varchild's War Riders to give him some creatures, you know? How does this work with Death Touch? Imagine your opponent had a 1/1 and 5/5/5s, and this had Death Touch. You can play that Squash card to deal 6 to the 1/1, and then kill all their 5/5s. No, it doesn't give your spells Death Touch because the original spell still has to be able to kill the thing. But, alright. It's obviously good, you're always going to play it. Equipped creature has 1 in a red, unattached Torolf's Hammer. It deals... Wait, what is it? Okay, the equipped creature has 1 in a red, tap, unattached Torolf's Hammer. It deals 3 damage to any target. Return Torolf's Hammer to its owner's hand. Okay. Equipped creature gets plus 3/0 as long as it's legendary. Okay, so it's 4 mana, tap a creature, deal 3 to any target. Oh no, it's 6. Oh, okay, it's 6. It's 2 to play, 2 to equip, 2 to use. It's 6 mana, tap a creature, deal 3 to any target. Return this to your hand. That is really clunky. Especially for an equipment that gives no stat bonuses. It's really good. I mean, to say it's clunky, it doesn't mean that it's not good. I mean, this card is clearly a 9, so. Runes? The runes are just unattached, right? So. It's not a 10. Reminds you of Hammer Bogarden, El Kabong. That was 3 and 8, right? It was like 3 to play, sorcery, deal 3 to any target, 5 rebind your upkeep. Right. So it looks like red doesn't have a 10 out of 10, which I think is fine. I don't think any of the red cards are 10 out of 10s, although they have a lot of 9s. They have a ton of 9s and a lot of 8s. So that's pretty strong. Red seems pretty good. Yeah, I mean, you have to understand 2 red for a 5/4 trample trinket text. This isn't even this is not even trinket text. But 4 mana 5/4 trample trinket text is like a 9. So, but I think this one might be the closest to being a 10. Just because it's like the only it's the only thing that this and Quakebringer are the ones that are actually, they can't, like, a Terminate doesn't just end them. So, but they also have a lot, they have like Dragonkin Berserker and Magda, which are like auto wins if you leave them alone. Like, red has a lot of snowbally cards in this set. Like, cards that pay you to stick around. which is really rare. I really enjoy that. Like, they pay rent. It is extremely rare for red cards to pay rent. Like, they occupy your deck space, they occupy your board space, you pay to bring them in, and they just sit there. They're the lazy bums. But red has a lot of cards that pay you to stick around. Pay rent. Not only do they pay rent, but their success is your success. If you help them, they help you. If you help Dragonkin Berserker, or you help Magda Brazen Outward, they pay you. Yeah. So the red cards are a lot more investments. So I like there has never been a set that has red has cards like this. This is the first set ever. Or red actually have cards that pay to stick around. Like Quakebringer, Goldspan Dragon, Magda, Dragonkin Berserker, Bergie. I mean, both of these pay to stick around. Frenzied Raider. I mean, it gets better the more he sticks around, right? He's basically just gonna get a counter every turn. I mean, this one can pay you to stick around. This one can. Like, it's so rare. I'm impressed. The red cards have impressed me the most in this set. The blue cards are all just generic 2-for-1 whatevers. The red cards look fun to play, and they look hard to deal with. Because you have to kill them so fast. Otherwise, you just get buried. The red cards are a completely new look for the color. I wish white felt like this. Like, so many of the red cards feel like a completely different take on the color that's really enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to playing with it.